Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Let's Break It Down for you, where we dive into conversations that matter to, I hope, all of you. Today, we're talking about the future, what young people want, their challenges, and their power to shape Canada. And I'm so excited to have Dom here today for a guest interview with this for this episode. Dom, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Leah. I'm so pumped to be here. I think it's amazing you're making a space for youth on the podcast. Today's all about getting real, having some fun, and giving listeners a chance to see what they can do to get involved.
Perfect. That's what we really need, Dom. So why don't we start? You can just ask me some questions you want to ask
Leah,
me, and I will do my best to answer.
Let's kick things off with a fun question. If you had a chance to meet a celebrity, who would it be and why?
Any celebrity?
Any celebrity.
Oh, my goodness.
Past or present?
I'm going to sound like a nerd because I go to a political person, of course. And actually, no, I'd love to sit down and talk to Eleanor Roosevelt. I think she's an incredibly interesting person. She did so much as a spouse to a president, but also in her own right. Very strong woman and handled so many things at a very difficult time. And she was, she also kind of personified just believing in yourself and doing it. And I think that's what, we all need to do. But in particular, I'd say young people, just believe in yourself and go for it, right? So but then that's American. So I'm kind of, and the other thing I want to say about Eleanor Roosevelt is that this Monday, December 10th, is the day, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights from the United Nations. She was one of the main people that drafted it. And one of the key people in the UN that worked with her was a Canadian. So really proud of that.
That was a great choice. Eleanor was a trailblazer. Okay, you've been in politics for quite a bit, but I bet a lot of listeners don't know why. What made you dive in? What started that flame?
I think it was a long time ago that I really got involved. And it was growing up in Newmarket, in York Region. I was a local girl, and my whole family was involved in public service, really community service, not so much politics at the start. But both my mom and dad. So I think growing up with that around me, and then my father got into local politics, was a member of the Liberal Party. I think, Pierre Elliott Trudeau came to our house when I was younger, and I had my picture on a matchbox when I was about age 6. So I grew up in that environment. But I was always involved, and I was women's commissioner at the University of Toronto. And then I worked on a campaign for a woman who I really admire, who I knew at University of Toronto, a professor. And I saw what she went through back then. Her name was Afifa Hoshek, a wonderful woman. And I kind of thought, I'm not sure I want to do that. But I still had it in my head, and my life just took a different direction. But when Donald Trump got elected in the United States, that's when I really decided, hey, it was time for me to go back, to get involved, because I didn't like the direction that politics, public discourse was going. It really wasn't even as much about the policies, Dom. It was about the breakdown, I think, in community divisiveness, the nastiness, and the disrespect. And I thought, gosh, I don't want that to happen in Canada. I just don't. And so I thought, hey, I'm at that stage now. My youngest kid was 18. I can do it. Good. Yeah. So I decided to throw my hat in the ring, and I guess, here I am today.
So, Leah.
Yeah.
You have a pretty good youth following in Aurora Oak Ridge's Richmond Hill. Mm-hmm. Why do you think it's important for young people to be involved in politics?
I think because, I'm a big believer, again, I'm going to sound nerdy, but in democracy, this is fundamental, right? And democracies, it takes action. It's a verb, really, in my mind, right? We have to work at it. And I've seen a growing alienation, distrust, it's irrelevant. It's not for me. I don't care about it. And it's not, I don't think it's that people think it's not cool. I think it's just that they've got so many other things going on, and I think they're disaffected. They see all these old people in politics, and especially in the United States where the average age is 80 or something, and we need to make it relevant. And I think that politics for youth, it's not about politics so much. It needs to be, I always say, okay, so do you care about an issue? Do you care about people? Do you care about your future? Okay, well, then you care about politics, really. And I don't even like to call myself a politician. I prefer to say an elected representative. I'm part of the community. But decisions that are made by the provincial government, by the federal government, by municipal governments, they're important for the future of each person, each youth, but also the future of our country. And so I really think it's important for young people to understand how it works, to just get that education, and hopefully, once people are involved, they kind of say, hey, like you, this is something that, this is something that I like. This is something I want to do, right? And not everybody, of course, but some people will say, yeah, it's for me. And then that shows that younger people are involved. And I have to say, our party in government, we have a lot of younger people. We have, I think we had the youngest elected person, Karina Grul, when she was elected. We have a number of them now, Ariel Kayabag, Emmanuel Lambropoulos, Iquinder Gahir, all dynamic young people who we need the voices, we need the input, because it's really about what you want for the future of Canada as well. And we've got to deliver on that.
Right on, 100%. But politics can seem kind of, as you put it, nasty. Like, what does it really mean for someone in high school or college? How does it actually affect them?
Well, it can seem nasty, but I think this is where I go to, every one of us can make a difference, right? If we're involved in the organizations, if we're involved in the conversations, we get to shape it. And if you choose not to engage or not to vote, you're letting somebody else decide. And you're letting somebody else decide not only on policies, but how it's done. There's a huge movement for election reform, and I believe in election reform. I think we need to do that. I think young people have a real role to play in that, because we have institutions and we have a way of doing things right now that have been around for hundreds of years. Canada has changed dramatically. Our society has changed dramatically. And if we want young people involved, if we want representation from every group, then we need to make sure that our institutions are interesting and work for people. And right now, I think a lot of young people look at it and say, hey, it's not really working for me.
Right on there. I know a lot of people that are a lot of young people especially involved and wanted to do election reform. So that's a great point that you brought up. So now I think we should take a little fire round.
Oh, boy.
Just say the first thing that comes to mind when I ask you the question.
That's dangerous. This may have to be edited, Dom. Okay.
All right. Favorite comfort food?
Oh, favorite comfort food? Red River cereal. Okay, I sound really nerdy. Red River cereal. I love porridge in the morning. Sorry. Okay.
Go-to activity to unwind?
Walking. Walking outside, nature.
Dream destination you haven't traveled to yet?
Actually, the northern Canada. Like, I want to go up to Nunavut. I want to go up to the far north. I've traveled a lot, so that may sound like, oh, you're being patriotic, but I've gone to a lot of interesting places. I've not been to the far north in Canada. I'd love to go.
What's one thing on your bucket list?
Winning the next election. No, I think it's funny. Bucket list. Yeah, I think that is. I think and actually more than that, it's actually being there to ensure that, like, I want to play a role in making sure that Canada continues on a good path. And that takes collaboration, that takes work. It really is on my bucket list. Like, I think it's important, and I think that if I can make a difference, continue to make a difference, and work to keep Canada, that would be huge.
Yeah, we can really see Pierre Poilievre playing games with even youth.
Yeah. Well, he plays games with my videos, right? I mean, he plays games with what I say, and it's not great.
No. All right, last one.
Okay.
Favorite part of being a member of Parliament?
The community. That's easy. It's actually meeting people here, hearing what they have to say, their thoughts, and helping people. Like, it's really when I can do something that makes a difference in someone's life, it's great. In fact, Jane and I were last night at an event for the Richmond Hill Board of Trade, and we met a woman. Now, I wasn't the one who helped her, but her story about she's a single mother living in Richmond Hill. She came to Canada. She was in an abusive relationship, and left her husband with her 4 children with nothing. She just left because she was in danger. And, she came to Canada, and we listened to her, and she's here, and she's doing an amazing job. And she and her children are contributing to Canada, and she's so proud of this country. She's so grateful. And, when you help people and you make a difference at that level, but also at the level of policy, like, the childcare program, I think, is amazing. So many things we put in place are amazing for helping people. This is a politician, though, Dom. You said lightning round, and I'm giving you 5-minute answers, right? So sorry about that.
No direct answer, was there? No direct
answer. I did give a direct answer, though. I did.
Not like the Conservatives, though. All right, that was a solid list, Leah.
Thank you.
All right, now let's get into some real talk.
Okay.
What do you think the biggest thing facing young people today?
there are so many different things right now, and it's hard to make. It's like any one group. Look at youth, and there's so many different people in that group, right? And everybody has their own set of challenges they're facing. But I do think it's anxiety about their well-being in the future. That's what I would say. Their people's well-being in the future, and I think there's many aspects to that. There's will I get a great first job? Am I going to be able to afford a home for my family? Whether it's buying a house or having a great apartment or in a community, what will the world be like? Like, are we going to be in a war, or is climate change going to change our country entirely? Like, what's happening? There's a lot of transitions, even things like AI as well.
Yeah.
Like, what's happening? There's so many things that are changing that I think there's a lot of kind of thinking about how am I going to ensure that I'm going to be well moving forward and that I'm going to be able to have a fulfilling, meaningful life.
Those are huge. And I know a lot of young people feel like they're waiting for someone to do something about it. So what's your message to someone who feels like they don't have any power in all of this?
I would say you do have power. I mean, I think everyone has power, and that's why I encourage people to get engaged and get involved. I mean, I think it's that, people talk about the problem of the public good or the commons, where it's like can one person make a difference? But there's so many examples where one person has made a difference. You look at all the people, Viola Desmond. You look at people who have made huge changes in our country, Nelson Mandela. Like, there's so many people around the world, Gandhi. I mean, you just look, but it doesn't have to even be at that scale. Like, believing that we can make a difference means that we go out there and we try, we do something. And it's not trying, it's not just trying. You get out there, you are doing something. It's not trying, you're doing something, right? And doing something is the key, and I think that's the key to realizing that there is good in the future, that there's hope for well-being, and that we're going to be great. I mean, Canada's a fantastic country, Dom.
100%.
And I believe every young person in this country has the power to make a difference, and that it's the government's job to ensure that every young person has the opportunity for education, for a job, for well-being. And that's what we have to do. But then everybody has to, it's what John F. Kennedy said, right? Ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. And it sounds a little bit lofty, but I believe everybody has to kind of feel like they're empowered to make a difference too, and we all do it together.
100%. I believe youth can make a difference, and they can do it right now.
Yeah.
So let's say some listeners want to start making a difference, but they don't know where to begin. What would you suggest they do right now?
I would say, just reflect on what's important to you. Like, it's not even where your passion is, think about what it is that you're really interested in. It can be a broad range of things. I mean, anybody who's listening and wants to get engaged and wants to get involved and has an idea of something you want to do, call our office. We've got some great people in our office that, a lot of young people, older people. We've got a lot of people, and my colleague Jane, who does community outreach, ask for her, talk to her. And even if it's not with us, we can suggest something. I've met people and they're now helping in other areas like volunteering and things, or studying different things, have gone down different paths because of conversations. I mean, I think people know inside them, but it's often that feeling of, okay, I kind of know, but how do I get there? What's the next step? Where do I go? Right? And so just reaching out sometimes, making a call, talking to someone, it then unfolds what the next thing is. But it has to be what people are interested in. I'm not going to tell somebody to get involved in any one particular thing, because it's really what your passion is.
Yeah. Solid advice. You kind of just answered our next question, but sometimes there's those small steps that make a very big difference. And as an M member of Parliament, what is the best way to reach you and to reach your office, if they have any ideas or questions?
It is challenging, I have to say that. We do our best in our office to get back to everybody who reaches out, but we get literally thousands of calls and emails, especially if there's a big issue going on. So, but, it's like anything, persistence, right? Showing up, persistence. I mean, email, if you don't hear back the first time, try a different way. We have a website where you can put in a message that we get. There's email, come out to an event. We publicize the events. We have a great New Year's levy happening in January on the 19th, I believe. 19th at the at Bond Lake Arena. I'm there. I do coffee and chats. I'm out in the neighborhood at events all the time. I mean, really, seeing me in person is one of the best ways, but but reach out. And if I can't answer, everyone in the office can provide links and can provide help, and then help people get to me if they want to talk to me as well. So, it's like everything in life, Dom. You got to keep doing it until you get there.
And it's great to see that you're out in the community, because we see some conservative MPs not even picking up their phones, not even answering emails, but you are talking to constituents, talking about real issues in the community that affect us today. So let's wrap it up.
Okay.
Let's look ahead. What's something exciting coming up in the community that young people should know about?
Well, I think, as I said, the levy's coming up for this, but I just think, again, it's hard to say for young people, right? I mean, we have a youth council. If you really want to get involved with us, you can join our youth council. You can get involved with the party. But there's more than that. There's so many opportunities. When I think about the volunteer opportunities through connecting the community, through LEAF, the Aurora Arboretum, there's all sorts of ways for people to get engaged. And it's about giving back, but it's also about pursuing an interest and making the connections. So, when I look at what's going on right now, there are just, so many different opportunities. And I think it goes back to what you were saying earlier, Dom, that people have to look and figure out, okay, what is it I'm interested in? And then reach out.
Yeah.
But I will always welcome anyone who comes to our office who reaches out to us and wants to get involved with us. If the Liberal Party is not your party, I encourage you to get involved with whatever party you feel is your fit. But, get engaged, get involved. We just need to all really collaborate and work together.
Yeah, that sounds awesome, Leah. Okay, one last thing. If you could leave a message with the youth of Aurora, Oak Ridges, Richmond Hill, what would that message be?
I think it would be that, Canada really, really
needs you.
Yeah, needs you, believes in you.
To show up. So I need to record it, but
I know. Yeah, it's Canada. It's not. Canada relies on every Canadian, on every young person to be a voice, to share their voice, to be there, and to be part of this conversation. We can't move forward unless we're moving forward together. So please, don't just listen to this and say, oh, it's politics, oh, it's this. No, it's your future, and it's the future of Canada, right? It's the future for as the Indigenous people say, the next 7 generations. Even if you don't want to have kids, it doesn't matter, right? It's the future of our planet, and I'm a person who believes strongly in, like I say, democracy, human rights, and the environmental progress. So we need everyone. We need everyone's voice. Anyone who has an inclination, act on it. Don't wait, because the time's now.
Love it. Well, thank you for having me on this episode. I think youth in the community really resonate with what you have said today. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Dom. Really appreciate your being here and asking me these great questions, and I hope I answered them pretty well. Okay.
Amazing.